Yeah, test, test, test. Good, good, good. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's hilarious, Reagan. That's funny. Ready? Well, good morning, folks. Thanks for joining us. I'm Matt Gibson, the president and CEO of the Kentucky Derby Festival. As you know, we're returning to in-person events this year and have a small event this weekend called Thunder Over Louisville. You might have heard of it. We can't wait to bring the show back down to its original home at the waterfront after being away for 2 years. You know, traditional Thunder is always great. We had a great non-traditional Thunder last year. We couldn't do it without the help and support from all the groups represented here today, and you'll hear from lots of them. It takes a lot of folks to put this show on, to keep it safe, to put the mechanics and the operations in place, and we can't say thank you enough. Setup for Thunder has been going on all week, and it's running on schedule. The weather certainly helps. It's incredible when you're not fighting rain and snow, sometimes in the same day. The setup for Thunder is often like building a city within a city to support the crowds. The venue runs north of Main Street all the way to the river, and its official boundaries are from Clay to 8th Street. So that's the official proper side. And all along the Riverside Drive in Clarksville and Jeffersonville in southern Indiana. Weather has been cooperating so far, and it looks great this weekend. You know, with no threat of rain, we certainly expect good crowds. We're also setting up in the command center in the Galt House, and that's underway, and I know many of you have been there over the week. Fireworks barges are being loaded and will start being installed on the bridge this Thursday. We remind the community that the bridge will close after drive time and stay closed all the way through Sunday. We'll be sending out more details about that later today, and you'll see that start to happen tomorrow. Again, it's all on schedule, which is great. As you can imagine, producing an event like Thunder is always a huge undertaking, and even more so as we get back into the swing of things after being away for a couple of years. As we're returning to larger in-person events, we also want to remind our fans how it all works so that we have the best day possible. So what does Thunder Day look like? Our theme, The Legend Returns, says it all. This year is going to be an amazing show as our show salutes the 75th anniversary of U.S. Air Force flight. So you're going to expect probably one of the best air shows that we've put in the sky in the entire history of the show. We also celebrated the 50th anniversary of Air Force flight, and this one's going to prove to be even bigger. Plus, we have our first drone show ever as well. That's going to be a great addition between the air show and the fireworks. So folks will look towards the bridge and see something super cool. You saw a little element of it last year on television, but this year it'll be live over the Ohio River, and we can't wait to show that off as well. Conditions are perfect for that. It all leads up to our favorite part of it, obviously, the big dog, the fireworks piece of it. And just like every other year, it's going to be spectacular. We've got some neat effects that are going to be in play. Some different width dynamics that are happening to make them more robust in 3D. And you know, it's always great working with the Zambelli team and Ralph, our show designer. So we'll be going all day long, and we encourage fans to plan ahead for their attendance to the show. That includes knowing what you can and can't bring. That list is one thing that hasn't changed since we last met on the Ohio Riverfront. Please leave glass bottles, grills, tents, and alcohol at home. There's enough food and beverage options throughout the venue. I mean, everywhere you turn, there's somewhere to get a corn dog, there's somewhere to get a soft drink, anything that you might need. There's even beer gardens down there where it's controlled. And we also ask that there are no bikes, skateboards, skates, scooters, etc. allowed within the venue itself. We do encourage folks to ride their bikes down there, and we have lock and walk bike areas set up. It's all on our website, and we've got plenty of bike lock parking for folks. So we encourage folks to do that. And also don't bring pets. We've seen every kind of pet down there over the years, and it's incredible that people will bring those down. It's not just the fireworks that are allowed. If you're down there and those very fast movers, the jets, the supersonic ones, all of those things are moving around, the sound is incredible, and it's not a good environment for pets, and you certainly don't want to lose one of those loved ones in the crowd. We also have first aid and lost child stations for folks. They're located on both sides of the river. In southern Indiana and Louisville, and they're very clearly marked. Make sure that you have a recent picture of your child the day that you leave. Should you get separated, you go to one of those. All law enforcement, our volunteers, our operations staff are always on the lookout for unattended minors like that, and then they can be reunited there at those lost child stations. Absolutely no drones are allowed. I know that's a big hobby now for folks, and drones are increasing every single year. A drone, it's absolutely a no drone zone down on the venue, because a drone or even the presence of a drone or a spotting of a drone will shut down the air show. We do have drone mitigation and equipment down there that they can source where the drone pilots are coming from, and it is something that could get you in big trouble. One of the most important things you can bring to Thunder is your patience, and a lot of it. Getting down there when everybody's trying to rush down to get to the air show, or to get there as the venue kicks off at 11 o'clock, or if you're just the fireworks fan and you're coming down for the fireworks alone, just bring your patience. We've got lots of people helping us get it and make it happen. LMPD is there to make it safe, but we have a responsibility for folks to be patient, because again, we're building a city within a city to support one of the largest crowds in the country. You can bring food and drink into the venue, except the Thunder Chow Wagon. We do control what goes in there. And again, no glass bottles or alcohol is permitted. Because it's a long day with a beautiful forecast, we are expecting a larger crowd. And that could need some longer lines for food and drink, and also a longer time to get home after the show. That's going to be important. As you know, Thunder traffic tends to be an issue, and this year will prove to be no differently. We're very well prepared for it, but we do ask that people kind of linger after the show. All of the concessions, the midway rides, all of those, when everybody rushes to get out, obviously that's what creates the crunch. So we'll keep everything turned on for a while after the show as the crowd starts to dissipate. But it's a good environment to be in too, because the lines should dissipate significantly. You'll need sunscreen and sunglasses because it's proving to be sunny all day long, and this will be the first time that folks have been out in this kind of weather, because it seems to be the best day that we've had so far this year. So another one that we always encourage folks to do, because it can be an issue with these long days, is don't hesitate to bring an extra roll of toilet paper. The Thunder pots could run out, and that can prove to be issues, but it's always a good thing to bring. I know that's a funny one to say, but better to be prepared, obviously. There are Thunder pots all over both sides of the river. There are plenty of them out there, but the lines will be long, and it's just a good way to be prepared. We have this information and more posted on our website at thunderoverlouisville.org. Everything that you need is there. We'll link the traffic plans with LMPD's website and all of our stuff, so just make sure to check that out before you go. And producing events like this would not be possible at all without all of the partners that you'll hear from today in this room. And we can't say thank you enough to Louisville Metro government, all of the different public safety entities that we work with, the federal agencies, the state agencies, all of the community-wide partners that we work with. They are absolutely stellar. It takes so many people to put this thing on. And for over 30 years, people have worked with us to help make this happen, make it grow into what it's grown into today. It's something that everybody in this community loves, and we just can't say thank you enough. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to LMPD Assistant Chief Andy McClinton to talk a little more about Thunder, and we'll stick around for questions after this as well. Thank you all.
Thank you. Good morning. I'm Assistant Chief Andy McClinton with the Louisville Metro Police Department. I first want to start off by thanking our special events team that is responsible for putting this event and security plan together. They have done a great job, and they have worked very hard, very long hours, and they have come up with a plan to keep this event safe and secure. So thank them, thank you, much appreciated. We would also not be able to do this without all of our other security and first responders that help. That is on a local, state, and federal level. I'm going to read a list of everyone that has been assisting and will be assisting on Saturday. If I forget anyone, it's not intentional. I'll apologize in advance. We need everyone's help, and it's greatly appreciated. So this is kind of a list of everyone that's assisted and will be assisting. The ATF, Department of Homeland Security, the FBI, Jefferson County Sheriff's Department, Kentucky Department of Alcoholic Beverage Control, Kentucky National Guard, Kentucky State Police, Louisville Metro Alcoholic Beverage Control, Louisville Metro Department of Corrections, Louisville Metro Emergency Management Agency, MetroSafe, Louisville Fire Department, Louisville Metro Emergency Services, obviously the Louisville Metro Police Department, Secret Service, Yellow Ambulance Service, the United States Coast Guard, and Kentucky Department of Fish and Wildlife. I would also like to thank, obviously, all of these people in all of our other groups that aren't law enforcement related that help with this. It takes everybody to get this done, and we are greatly appreciated. We do have a lot of help, but we will also need the help of everyone that's in attendance. We need you all to be our eyes and ears to keep this event safe and secure. If you see something suspicious, say something. You're going to hear this a lot over the next couple of days, and it's just our way of getting everyone to help. So if you see something suspicious, please let us know. And there's several ways you can do that. The obvious first way is there'll be plenty of uniformed officers in attendance spread out throughout the event. Please walk up to the officers and let them know. The other way, if it's an emergency, please call 911. If it's a non-emergency, you can call 574-7111. And if you don't feel comfortable leaving your name, you can always call our 574 LMPD. So if you see something, please say something. We will need everyone's help in this. We have made some changes to our traffic plan. Those things we will be working through this year. Like Matt said earlier, we just want to encourage everyone to be patient. We will get everyone home safely, but we ask that the public work with us and just be patient. Just a few things before I'm going to have the sergeant come up and go over our traffic plan in more detail, but just a few things that I think will be helpful. If you can, please park as far away from the downtown and the waterfront as possible and walk in. As Matt had mentioned earlier, that will help with the congestion and that will help spread it out. The more we can stagger it, the better. And the other thing is, I know they're going to have events going on right after the fireworks. We are just encouraging everyone to stay downtown, stay down on the waterfront, and take advantage of what looks like it's going to be a great evening. The more we can stagger it, it'll help with the congestion. Just know we will do everything we can to get everyone home safely. I will now bring on Sergeant Fay with our traffic unit, and he will discuss our traffic plan.
Good morning, I'm Sergeant Ron Fay. I'm with the LMPD Traffic Unit. Again, we're excited this year to have in-person attendance and to have such a large event back on the waterfront. A few changes this year just to encourage everyone to cooperate as you're coming in and going. We're going to have a lot of personnel that are going to be directing you the most efficient way into the event and out of the event. One thing to consider, as you've heard before, is that parking away from the congestion of downtown will help you to have an easier time when you are leaving. If you're on the west side of downtown, all the routes are going to direct you up to the 9th Street ramp and send you to 64 West. And those that say, I want to go 64 East, it's an easy opportunity. You would just go on down and hit the Waterson Expressway and they'll get you back around. What we are doing with the traffic plan is getting everybody up onto the expressways where we have a lot more volume of lanes so that people can then start moving in the direction that they need to. If you happen to end up on a interstate in a direction that you normally don't travel, all you would need to do is go up to the next off-ramp and make a turnaround and go in the direction that you choose to go. Another thing, if you are west of 9th Street, we would encourage you to drive west to the 22nd ramp, which will also get you up on 64 heading west. We will also have expedited routes heading south on 3rd, 1st, and Preston, which will then merge you onto 65 South to get you out of downtown. If you are on the east side of downtown, we will have routes set up River to Zorn, getting you on 71 North, and also Lexington at Grinstead, getting you up onto 64 East. Everything will be leading away from downtown, so if you live in the south end of the direction, you would want to park on the south side on one of those routes. If you're heading west, once you're done, you want to park to the west, and if you're heading east, if you'll park to the east, that'll help you to get in the direction that you are wanting to go once the event is over. One thing to consider is you're going to have a lot of pedestrians. As we're encouraging people to park further out, you're going to have a lot of people walking in areas that are going to have a higher volume of pedestrians than what some of these areas are typical of seeing. So be aware, make sure you're not distracted, and make sure you're paying attention not only to those that are assisting you on getting through these intersections efficiently, but also of the pedestrians, because the pedestrians are also walking in areas they may not be familiar with as well. As you heard before, one thing that we're doing this year is encouraging people to remain downtown if you want to enjoy some of the other events, because if all the traffic is leaving all at once, it's going to be very congested. But if we have people that are staying around and enjoying some of the shows and some of the food vendors, again, it'll be a little less traffic whenever you're choosing to leave. That's all right. Gotcha. All righty. And I'm going to introduce Carrie Butler with TARC.
Good morning, I'm Carrie Butler, the Executive Director of TARC, and we are really excited about the return of Thunder Over Louisville this year. If you don't want to drive, or maybe you're going to walk one way, you know, we're going to have some great options for you on TARC. I want to start off by thanking our generous sponsorship of the Kentucky Derby Festival and Humana. All routes on TARC will be fare-free this Saturday to promote convenient free access to and from the event. In addition, we have some additional service into downtown Louisville, and we're going to focus our service to sort of match up with the traffic plan that LMPD has talked about, to have 5 post-event boarding areas. So you're going to get on the bus at these specific areas, and then those are just within a few blocks of the waterfront. Buses will operate until 11 p.m. and at the following locations. And all this information is on ridetarc.org, as well as some other media outlets, but I'll kind of go through it. At 9th and Main, that's going to be for routes 15, 18, 19, 21, 23, and 43 westbound. So if you're familiar with those routes, you're going to want to board at 9th and Main. At 6th and Chestnut, you're going to, those are for routes 4, 6, and 63 southbound. And then First and Muhammad Ali, that's for routes 2, 28, and 43 southbound. Floyd and Liberty is for routes 17, 21, 23, and 40 eastbound. And then Floyd and Market is for routes 15, 19, 31, and that's headed eastbound. So again, that map's available on our website, ridetarc.org, and is being shared with media outlets. We will also have a circulator that's going to operate from Broadway at 11th Street, so kind of right out in front of Union Station, and it'll take you back into the Shining Park. That's something we had done for Thunder years ago and brought that back. I'll sort of reiterate some of the things that were said about the Derby Festival, from the Derby Festival. Food and drinks must be kept in a sealed container on board. No alcoholic beverages are permitted on board. And then as of yesterday, the TSA lifted the mask mandate, and so you do not have to wear a mask as of this moment. So no masks are required on board the TARC buses. If you want to plan your trip, we have some trip planning and maps and schedules available on ridetarc.org or a transit app, and then Google Maps can also provide that. If you have any additional questions, we have a wonderful team of our customer service reps. They can be reached at 502-585-1234. We also have touch-tone at 213-3240. And please follow TARC on social media for any updates. We are RIDETARC on Twitter and Facebook. So happy to take any additional questions, but right now, what is not normal to turn over a bus press conference to the Coast Guard, but I'll introduce it to Coast Guard Lieutenant Steve Leidy.
So good morning, everyone. I'm Steve Leidy. I'm the Public Affairs Officer for Sector Ohio Valley here. I wanted to talk a little bit about our role in Thunder Over Louisville. So Saturday, there's going to be a special local regulation, which is a regulation from mile marker 597 to 607, limiting boat traffic and a minimal wake zone. So at mile marker 602, which is 200 yards north of upriver from the Big Four Bridge, that's going to be a no entry zone, and that's going to be marked by a picket line of larger vessels. We just ask that everyone complies with the federal, state, and local law enforcement vessels out there on the river on Saturday, as it's going to be a great day and there's going to be a lot of wreck boats out there. We also have Coast Guard auxiliaries that'll be passing out a pamphlet at the boat ramps with some of the things that I just passed, and it's going to have your safe anchorage areas as well as some tips and tricks for safe boating. And with that being said, I'm going to turn it over to Bosun Mate First Class Chase Beidler. He's our Station Louisville Executive Petty Officer, and he's going to talk about some of those safe boating tips. Thank you.
Good morning, I'm Chase Beidler with Station Louisville. Just wanted to drive home the point real quick. It's going to be a really nice day. We haven't had a nice day in a while on the water. Everyone needs to take the time and go through your boats. Make sure you have all your safety equipment, make sure everything works. Strong currents, debris in the water this time of year is always going to be an issue. Right now, everything looks good. It could always change at a moment's notice. Number one thing, the number causative factor in boating fatalities and boating accidents is alcohol. So just make sure if you're consuming alcohol, you're doing it safely, and the operator absolutely cannot be drinking. Like Lieutenant Lighty said, the auxiliary will be at the boat ramps passing out pamphlets with safety information. We'll have 3 boats on the water pretty much all weekend. So if you need anything, you can always reach out to us. We're to help. We're there for education and safety first. So with that being said, I'll turn it over to Jody Myman, Director of Louisville Emergency Management Service.
All right, thank you. Again, I'm Jody Myman with Louisville Metro and Jefferson County Emergency Management, and it seems that the speakers before me have stolen a lot of my thunder, no pun intended. So I will be brief, and I'm the last speaker, which is a good thing. So make sure that you prepare now. We don't want you to have to worry about getting accurate and real-time information while you're down there. We want you to do things to keep your family safe while you're down there. So sign up for Lens Alert. Anything we talk about, whether it's weather emergencies or anything that goes on, we want people to sign up for Lens Alert. It's our Louisville Emergency Notification System. You can go to louisvilleky.gov or go to our emergency management website and sign up for that. And you will get real-time information not only at the Thunder event, but what's going on throughout the rest of Jefferson County. We do have an opt-in, as we've done in the past. It's Text Thunder at 67283. Again, it's Text Thunder at 67283, and that will give you specific Thunder Over Louisville information regarding something that's going on through the venue. We also have the capability to send out what's called an IPAWS alert, or the Integrated Public Alert and Warning System, on both sides of the river. So if there's an immediate danger or needed information that we need to get to the public, we can set that off. It's similar to a tornado warning or an Amber Alert or something to that effect. Like Colonel McClinton said, make sure you're aware of your surroundings. If something seems out of place, it could be out of place. There's nothing too small to report. So he gave you the information on how to report something suspicious out there. Like Matt Gibson said, the weather's going to be good, along with sunscreen and sunglasses. Make sure you're staying hydrated while you're down on the Great Lawn. Be patient going home. Like we said, it's going to be a big crowd, and as always, try to idle your car where you can to help save gas and emissions that your car may be giving out. So we want everybody to stay safe, be diligent, and have a great time. And now we'll take questions.
A question for Assistant Chief McClinton. How difficult does a shortage of officers make working an event like this? And how important is the partnership with other agencies during a time like this?
It is a challenge, but we were able to overcome it with planning and with the assistance from all of our partners that I mentioned. Everybody has to step up. That's why we've made some changes, but we're able to work through it to make sure we have a safe and secure event.
So you still cover all the same areas in the rest of town as well, of course?
Yes, we do.
And the weather, obviously, I mean, you talked about a 2-year hiatus, and then the weather's perfect. I mean, that's when people really will drive in. I mean, what type of specific measures, again, with the short staffing, are you guys basically ensuring the community you will be safe?
Yes, I'm not going to get into our specifics as far as, how many folks, where we're going to be, but I'm confident in our plan. They've done an excellent job. We use the nation's best practices when we plan these events. And that's why these guys in the Special Events Unit have done such a great job. It's taken a little bit more planning, a little bit more detail, but they've done a great job, and I feel like we're going to have a safe and secure event.
Would you tell the community, because, you see a lot of people come from other areas of the country, and they hear about where our crime's been, and they hear about the news, and they hear about all that. What would you tell them to, again, make sure that they're feeling safe?
It's just, like I said earlier, if you see something, say something. We've got a great plan in place. I'm confident in our plan, and, We are prepared. We've been prepared and we've been planning. And with the help of all of our partners, we're going to have a safe and secure event.
Question for Matt. I was curious, obviously this is first year in a couple of years where things have been relatively normal. What has it been like for you to plan this the last few months, knowing that, largely things are going to be kind of the same as they were before everything happened?
Great question. I stepped into this role as president and CEO a few months before the pandemic hit, so it's great from my perspective to be doing what we do normally, as one of the premier festivals in the country. You talk about it being a few months. We've actually been planning this show for about 3 years. We stay well ahead of our events, and when we're talking programming, the 75th anniversary of the U.S. Air Force flight, these dialogues have been in conversation for quite a while. Obviously, going into this year, not knowing where we would be with things, we built all of our events to be scalable should we be facing restrictions. We did get word from the governor's office just last week that we're going into it based on healthy numbers and keeping people safe, that there are no restrictions present. So it's very bittersweet, a very, very emotional thing for our whole staff, because it's been 2 years that we've been surviving healthy, but doing things very non-traditional. It was great to do what we did last year to bring the festival to the community instead of the community to the festival, but we're ready to be back.
What does it mean, Matt, that people can actually come and enjoy something? It's completely different to sit on the lawn
It
with
is.
your family than to watch it on the TV.
Absolutely, and that's one of the reasons that we took it to the community and did it in people's backyard. But we took a lot of things for granted before the pandemic, and there were silver linings that were there, obviously, amidst all the tragedy and such. But we're seeing it in people's faces when we have had the events that we've had leading up to this. We produce over 70 events just in this month. And cumulatively, we'll see about 1.4, 1.5 million people when we're all done. Everybody's been happy to be back, and that's what we would expect for this event as well, that people are glad to be back. That's where the patients, the kind crowd, that type of thing is very, very important, because it's been a while. And this is one of the biggest, and it really typically is a very kind crowd. And we're expecting to see all the smiles, happy people, great weather, great show, very safe event, so many partners. I mean, everybody leans in to make this happen because it's all about the community. And that's one of the things that we take very, very seriously is promoting this community and creating a good quality of life here. So.
How are you feeling? Have you lost any sleep? You got a couple more days?
What's sleep? We always say we'll sleep in May. We're feeling good. The pace, we tell our staff a lot that when the pace doubles and you think it's going to triple, and we'll hit our stride, but we're right in the middle of it. And it's, again, why I say that the setup is on schedule. There's always inevitably something that we prepare for or that we have to address, and this year will be no different. But we've got a great team around us, some phenomenal partners that have so many resources to bring to bear when something pops up. But again, this is just the real kickoff. Then we hit our stride again for the rest of the festival for the next couple of weeks. So we'll see you guys everywhere, but we all feel good.
And I know that this is going to be great weather. We've talked about it. Is this record that we're expecting, record number of attendance? Do we know that?
So that's a hard one to really speculate. There's a number out there that we didn't. It's always a challenge to get that accurate number. We know the venue can typically hold between 300,000 and 500,000 folks, which is the equivalent of medium-sized cities in this country. And we know that people are hungry for this type of entertainment, and the buzz that we're hearing about it is incredible. But when you really look out there, we would expect a good-sized crowd, and we're really building. Every year we build for it, even if it's a rainy year or a snowy year or one of those that there's a threat of weather coming and it affects the crowd. We build it for the maximum size crowd possible, and this year's no different. So all the resources are there. Everything that everyone would need is there, so we're excited to see people come down.
What was the last crowd pre-pandemic, so 2019?
So 2019 was a great year. There was a threat of weather, which sometimes has an effect. People will delay to watch what the weather looks like, but it was a really good crowd. It was cooler than what we had. I think the high was around 73 or so. And you see three very distinct crowds there at Thunder. Some are the Thunder all-day fans that get there early and stay late. Then you have an air show crowd that only wants to see the aircraft, and this year will be no different because of the lineup is absolutely amazing. And then you have just the fireworks crowd, and you'll see those crowds change over throughout the day. And it was a good-sized crowd. Again, it's tough to speculate what that is because nobody sits there. There's a formula per square footage that we use, but there's people in buildings, there's people all around, there's people hidden in the trees, there's people farther back behind Main Street, et cetera. So I would guess it was around 450, 500,000 folks. And that counts both sides of the river.
As far as the last few months go, watching what's been happening with COVID, obviously you talked about you needing to scale it back if you could, if you needed to. But obviously, the last few months have been pretty good for COVID numbers, and you talked about the governor's or discussion with the governor last week about this in the final sense. How have your thoughts kind of evolved as you've watched COVID over the last few months and seen that hey, we can actually do this in a normal way?
Again, it's a magnificent feeling to be preparing for something different or something that wasn't normal, and then being able to move into this space. We have a couple folks who watch all the numbers and stay on them for us. We stay very connected with the governor's office, the health department here, and we've always done that with our events to make sure that we have all of the resources in play regardless of what's coming. So we still have a lot of those resources out as if we were dealing with, so lots of hand sanitizer stations everywhere. There are porta-johns, hand washing stations, et cetera. And I know people address things differently now too. I mean, we all learned. A lot of people will distance themselves naturally or make sure that their hands are clean. But it's great to be back in real live space.
I want to ask too, I mean, every year obviously you guys want to improve, right? Not just on the experience, but the safety.
That's right.
As far as safety goes, what can you look back at that year and be like, okay, we learned this, we want to change this, this, and this. I know you kind of mentioned keeping people downtown, not having them move back and forth. What other safety-related things did you guys learn from the last normal one that you implemented?
So again, because this show is 33 years old, this is the 33rd, we improve our plans every single year, and we meet with all of our teams. We tabletop a lot of discussions. We work with different partners throughout the country about what they learned for best practices, like Colonel McClinton said. So we are constantly having dialogues about what we can do better, how we can improve, how we can improve not only their attendance, their experience, keeping the event safe, what best practices are out there that we can implement. And so it's a year-long discussion when we're having these things. So everybody hot washes or after actions these events, not only Thunder, but all of ours, and we typically will grow from that.
Any new ones that come to mind that are big?
A lot of them are technology-based that we can't go really deep into, but it allows us to get faster, quicker reporting for all of the folks on the venue. And a lot of our partners bring that to bear for us. But that allows everybody to stay even more connected, not only from radio, cell phone. We do have cell towers down there that support the network because it will be strained. But implementing those things year after year, when I look back in my 20 years on this and seeing just how we've evolved, it's incredible.
Do you have any partnerships with Southern Indiana? I know obviously you're
Absolutely.
on the local side, but what has that partnership been like? If you want to answer that, everyone has something to can you talk about that?
Either way. We work very closely with them. They have the same EOC, Emergency Operations Center, set up just like this, and we're in constant communications. We have operable radios, so we're all on the same channels, whether they're on water, whether they're on the Indiana side, so everybody's on the same page.
Just to wrap up, thank you guys for all coming and helping us get all of the information out to the public. We really appreciate all of that. Also, our website contains all the information of the precise road closure information and any other safety tips, along with KDF, Kentucky Derby Festival's website. Thank you guys for coming.
Can I ask Jody one more question? I just felt like you did it again. Time.
Sorry, what?
Given last time, he said it was probably in the 70s, it's going to be forecast in the 80s. Are we going to have additional EMS tents or
Yes.
train stations in case like, you know, people are bringing their young kids or grandparents, like, talk about what that's gonna look like. It's gonna be a little bit hotter.
Right,
It's
so
gonna
we
be
do have a,
places.
we do have a wide footprint with EMS that's in the venue, so we hire overtime. We've got 12 to 14 transport trucks that are just going to be assigned to the venue, and then we've got bike teams, we've got foot patrol, we've got people on golf carts and ATVs and things like that. So we'll have a wide, or a good amount of people in the venue.
Is that more than normal?
It's about the same as normal, yeah. We plan, like Matt said, we plan for the biggest, you know, crowd that's going to be expected, so.
I just wasn't sure if the weather, if you were like gonna add a couple more people. No, you
Yep.
guys are in good shape.
All right, thank you.